Hello, everyone. This is Layman with the Fantasy Grounds Academy. Today, I am here with Saagael, and we are going to be going over his latest extension, which is the Waypoints extension, which I'm really excited about. It's a very cool thing. How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
All right.
Excited to show this off.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I kind of just spotted it by randomly on the Fantasy Grounds Forge. So, if you guys are not aware, there is a kind of a community type section. If you're new to Fantasy Grounds, there's an area where you can buy, sell, and trade your extensions, and he actually has this up for free. And I'll make sure that the link for this is provided at the end of the video, along with his Ko-Fi link. And then, so let's get started. So to just kind of give me the your beginning, like how did this? What was the premise of this?
Yeah, so I wanted to have a map with tokens that moved independently of me having to do anything. I wanted to be able to have a scene that played out, and I didn't want to have to focus on moving all the tokens around and whatnot. So it was just sort of born out of necessity that I wanted to run a game with like movement on the map that I didn't have to deal with. So.
Makes sense. And that is kind of laborious if you've got more than a dozen different tokens, so I hear you there. So the impetus was just needing to move multiple tokens at once. So if you're new to Fantasy Grounds, the load screen, when you come into the Fantasy Grounds, there'll be, once you have enabled the extension and you update Fantasy Grounds, you'll see it'll say patrol, right? Patrol duty as a feature. And then when you load that, you won't really see anything obviously when you first open up, but you do need a map and some tokens, and that's what I have set up here. I have this like cavern, and what I was trying to do with it is to get these Dwergar guards to patrol a certain part of the tunnel. And when I was first starting to check it out, I wasn't certain how to do it, so I said, you know what? Why don't I just get a hold of Saagael and have him show me how to actually do it? And then I thought, well, why don't we record it? And here we are. So, okay, so first things first, we already have some tokens set up already, but we want to show everyone kind of how to start, like what's the beginning. So I know that this guy up here in the north, where my cursor is doesn't have a path yet, or this guy that's highlighted.
Yeah, so you can access the waypoint editor by right-clicking either of those tokens.
Okay, so I'll get him. He's the first on the initiative order. And then
at the bottom there's a open path editor option.
Okay.
Click that. This is the path editor. This is where most of the magic happens. And setting up a path is fairly easy, top to bottom. You just drag and drop the tokens that you want on the map. Green is the starting point, red is the ending point, and yellow is everything in between.
Okay. So I'm going to set up a kind of a triangular type thing. So I'll take this green pointer or pin, drop that there. So that's just going to be where he starts, right?
Yep.
And then do the end point, which is it's going to be here. And then a waypoint will be there.
And if you just want to confirm that that's what you want, you can, you're already on it. Click that button in the toolbar, and it will select all of your waypoints.
Oh, cool.
And that'll show you the route.
Oh,
now,
neat.
that's only a one-way path. If you want that to be a full loop, in your path editor, you can go down to the end of path section on the left-hand side. And select loop back to start, which I think is the first option. And now it adds that extra leg in there.
Oh, I see. So it does true... okay.
Yep.
Neat.
Other things to just be aware of, because they are kind of gotchas. You need to enable the path.
Okay. Yeah,
that's there just, as the GM, if you just want to quickly turn it off or on.
Got it.
This is where you do it.
Okay.
You want to change the trigger to whatever it is you want the token to move on.
So let's explain this.
Yeah. So the first option is probably the most obvious. Yeah, on initiative. When that token's initiative comes up in the combat tracker, it'll automatically move.
Okay.
The next option is, I think, on turns, which will move it every single turn. Which is good for like automated, I don't know, moving
Patrols.
platforms or whatever.
Yeah.
Things that are sort of,
Consistent.
don't have initiative.
Yeah.
There's also at the end of every round, and then if you're really fancy, there is a real-time clock, which will move it every second.
Wow.
Or every number of seconds.
Does that ping off your system clock, or?
No, that's actually thanks to another one of the community devs, Maticure, who has just a little web server out there that you can hit, and it will just wait for a second and
really cool.
Give you a call back.
Nice. Okay. Speed.
Speed is the number of map units that the token will move whenever their trigger happens. Since you're playing if you're playing 5e or Pathfinder, this will need to be like their actual speed, so 30, if you want them to full move.
Yeah, this guy's 25.
So but maybe they're not running the full way, so maybe you put it at
15.
like 5 or 10. Yeah, 15.
Actually, I'll do 10 since he has a short path. And jitter?
It's a pretty small path, so I would keep jitter at 0.
Okay.
Jitter's really nice if you've got like long distances that tokens are moving.
I see.
Also, because this movement doesn't obey the laws of the like line of sight that you set up on a map, it can just warp. If there's too much jitter, it could just warp tokens through a line of sight barrier.
Okay.
Yep.
So what would jitter be used for in this case? Like,
if you've got like a large open area, like say you're in, a tavern map, or you're on a field and you just want tokens to have sort of random Brownian behavior or movement patterns, you can crank the jitter up to 75 or 100.
Oh, I see. So like if you were drunk or something, you'd be like swaying back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It adds a random factor to the movement.
Nice. Snap to grid. There's a caveat, I believe, to that.
Yeah, just that because of the way Fantasy Grounds works with snapping, it'll snap to the center of a square, but it can also snap to the edges between squares and the corners between squares.
Right, but knowing that's cleaner than just random, not docking to anything. So
yeah,
I'm going to do that here, even though it's a small area.
Yep, it is important to know that using snap to grid will make the distance that the token travels, it could appear more or less, because the snapping could like push it forward to the next square or pull it back to the last square.
Okay.
But that's
neither here nor there. Yeah, I get it. End of path. So how does that work? Right now I have it travel to start.
Yep, that's just what the token does when it reaches the end. The default is it'll move to the end and stop. You can have it travel back to the beginning, so like you did there, where it'll just go from the last point to the first one.
It adds that leg.
Yeah, and then if the other option is to just do the path backwards.
Back and forth, so to speak? Okay. And let's talk about the waypoints here. How does that work?
Yeah, so the waypoints there show in the order that they will be hit. If you click on one of the waypoint symbols just in that list, so like the green...
You mean here?
Yep, if you just click on that, it'll center the map on that waypoint.
Oh, cool.
Which is really most because, like, if you've got 50 waypoints...
Or a long path.
Or a long path, yeah. You want to know what waypoint you're editing.
Okay, so that recenters it to that point. Yeah. I see. That was pretty neat, actually. Does it override the option menu? There is this where you can say auto center off. Does it mess with that at all?
Oh, no. It doesn't do that at all.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yep. Each waypoint has its own set of options, so if you had it open earlier, we can go look at that.
Yeah, let's check out this waypoint, this one.
Yep.
Okay. Right now it's at continue move.
Yeah, so fairly bare bones. The first option just says, what should the token do when it hits this waypoint? It'll either continue moving, So if it hits a waypoint and it's got 10 feet of movement left, it'll just use up the rest of its movement going to the next
Okay.
point. Yep. Pausing will ignore that extra movement, and it'll just stop until the next.
Okay.
In this case, second.
That's what I'm going to do with this one, actually. I'm going to have them pause there.
Yeah, because then you can see it hitting all the waypoints.
Yep.
And then the last option. So warping is just if you don't want the token to physically travel between a waypoint, you can have it warp to or from that waypoint. If you just click one of that, just click warping, and you'll see it's kind of light in this theme, but on that waypoint on the path editor, there is a little portal symbol.
Yeah, I see it.
That denotes that you are going to warp to that waypoint.
That makes sense. That's so cool.
And then warp from that waypoint
to
whatever the next one is.
Okay.
And then the last one is both.
Wow, that is really nifty. Nice. Okay, and modify speed. What's that going to do?
That just lets you change the speed that the token moves between the current waypoint. So in this case, this is the yellow one, and the next waypoint. Okay,
so we had it set at 10.
Yep.
So this waypoint, can I make it like if I go to multiply 1.5 times
between these two? 15. Yep.
So 1.5. So that multiplies by your speed over here. Yeah. Right? Okay, and then this speed is your actual movement in squares or units, right?
Yeah, map units. So like in 5e, most maps have a default 5 feet per square.
Okay, that makes sense. So Dwergar only move up to 25 in this case, but I wanted it so he's moving silently or kind of quiet as he can. If you move past that, I mean, this isn't going to be regulated, but I just think of that in terms of gameplay, All right, cool.
Yeah.
So that's setting up the paths, right? Is there any other paths type setup we want to do with a different token, maybe?
We can do the other one.
This one?
But I want to point this out. If you open up the toolbar of the image, so the blue button to the right of the image name, up at the top of the image.
Oh, you mean here?
Yeah, to the right of the Crystal Tunnels field. So it's like a little down arrow underneath.
Yes, this thing.
Yeah. Open up that. There's a section there to the lefternmost section.
Okay.
Those are all tools for the pathfinding.
That is way cool because then you don't have to. Okay.
Yeah, and so you can select a token and you can enable and disable the path directly from the toolbar.
Oh, okay.
You can open up the path editor from there. That's the rightmost of that section.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
That's cool because what that does is it helps with accessibility. Because if you have to do it all, like if you got a huge map or, you don't want to have to move the whole map, right?
Right.
So you just click on the token.
Extensions. Yeah. And there are going to be extensions that conflict with that right-click menu. So throw it up there. It'll always be accessible.
All right, cool. Right on. All right, so which I just kind of want this guy to go like a jitter type move like through here.
Yeah. So in that case, I would just put two waypoints, the green and the red.
There's a start. There's the end.
Yep. Make sure it's enabled.
Enabled.
Make sure the trigger is set to initiative, probably.
Okay.
The speed can be
25 or whatever.
25, yeah. That actually 25 will be. It might go off the map with that fast.
So 20, maybe.
Yeah, we can try it out.
Okay.
And then jitter could be, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15.
Okay.
If anyone's interested in the math of how that works, it'll be up on the forum.
Okay. Snap to grid.
Yeah, you can keep that on or off, whichever.
I'll leave it off. End of path, do nothing. We want them to go back to the start.
So in this case, because there's only 2 waypoints, travel back to the start and traverse in like backwards are the exact same. So
it'll only change if you have a waypoint. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done that. Now, what's the next step?
The next step is to just start hitting next turn on the combat tracker.
Now, let me check my waypoint. So on the top left, just as a reminder, you can set that. You can click on it to kind of get a preview of the waypoints.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right.
The other, and then I guess just while you're there, the other two buttons are copy and paste. So if you have a path that you want to copy to a different token, you could copy it from one, paste it to it.
That's helpful because you don't have to keep doing this every time.
Yeah. Exactly.
That makes sense. So if they're all in the same area or like a group of them, you can do it like that, kind of.
Yep.
Nice. So that copy and paste is just copy this setting and then click on another token and hit paste.
Yeah.
Okay, that's neat. Oh, really cool. That's really well thought about. Okay, so I'm going to close this for now. And we're at the first round, and we're in these crystal cavern thingies. So let me recenter the map.
And you can kind of, as you do that, you can kind of see the jitter in play as some of those tokens are not really moving in straight lines between their targets. They're kind of, they're veering off by 5 or 10 degrees every now and then.
Is there any conflict with crossing paths?
No.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
So F4 is the way you can kind of cycle, unless you've changed your keys. F4 will help you cycle through, just test it out.
Well, F4 is just if you look at your hotkey down there, you've got F4 as your
Yep.
I use F1. Someone might use F12, whatever. And you can see it's pretty quick. Like the math to move the tokens is fairly, I would say, instantaneous. You're going to be a lot slower on like line of sight updating.
Okay, got it. Wow. All right. Well, that's cool. So you mentioned that you might have some other stuff in process or you're working on to improve or add.
I've got 2 features that I'm looking to add in the next weeks or months. Mm-hmm. The first is token carrying, so that if you've got a moving token and something else like comes into contact or overlaps it, it will the token that is pathing will carry other tokens with it. So vehicles, platforms, whatnot. It just a player jumps onto a car and then the car is on a path and then they can hop off at the end. That seems cool.
That is cool.
And then the other one is more advanced pathing options.
Mm-hmm.
So things like stop a token's path when a PC gets within some distance from it. They're within 20 feet of the token. They stop their pathing.
Okay.
That way the GM can just happens and then the GM can take it from there.
Right.
And now this is getting into like actual game programming, game design stuff. Like instead of moving on a set path, move to the waypoint that is closest to the nearest player.
Oh, wow.
Right. So instead of going on a set circuit, they'll like pick the waypoint that is closest to a player and navigate to that one.
And that'll be cool in the long term because if you've got someone that's starting at one end of the battlefield and you want them to move or engage with the closest tokens, that would make sense.
Yeah, there's some like design stuff I got to figure out with that, but I would like to get to that point. And also like that would enable solo play like for crazy amounts.
Wow,
you just set up all this stuff and then it would just happen.
Wow, battles would never be the same again if you set it up right. I mean, solo battles, even in gameplay. So this is really cool. So you do have a donation link, but this particular extension is on the Fantasy Grounds Forge. It's free, right?
Yep, all of my extensions are free.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a number of other ones over there. A lot of stuff that's compatible with basically every rule set. Nice. I won't plug all of them here.
Right, I get you. Right on. Well, I'd love to have you come back when those new features are added, or if they get added, maybe later in the year, maybe Christmas, who knows. But yeah, support this guy if you can. I'm going to put the links for the extension, and then if you guys are wanting to, you can pop him a $5 bill or something. cup of coffee. That's what he's got his thing set up on, is a coffee link. And just really curious, do you have like a programming background or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm a software developer by trade.
Okay, cool. Right on. All right. Well, gee, this is really cool, man. I'm really happy. I'm really proud of you for this type of ingenuity and bringing this sort of functionality to Fantasy Grounds. This is really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, this is kind of the thing I like to do with the Fantasy Grounds Academy, is kind of explore what the community is doing, not just Smiteworks or one of the big publishers. I like to know what the end users are doing, because that's really where the rubber meets the road, is this stuff here. But yeah, wonderful. Thank you for spending time with me and showing me how to use it. I know initially I kind of was like, what? But now that you explained it to me, I totally get it now. So it makes sense. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for doing this. I'm terrible at recording videos myself, so this is
Perfect.
a great help to me as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you around in the community, and I guess hopefully we'll see each other in the future.